Henry Dominguez is his name. Now that we know that today, we can thank him properly. Thank him for, as witnesses described, keeping his out-of-control tanker truck yesterday tucked tightly against the median barrier on I-25. Who knows how many lives would have been lost if it had careened the other way through traffic. We are getting our closest look yet at the fire that followed to shut down the interstate used by 250,000 drivers a day. Our Victoria Sanchez has that.
Tires exploded from the heat and shot across lanes of traffic.
I need 2 more engines.
South Metro Fire Rescue Public Information Officer Eric Hurst was just 100 yards from the burning tanker truck.
From where I was, I could feel a little bit of the heat. Certainly where our firefighters were, they were faced with enormous heat. Probably one of the hottest fires that the firefighters will deal with in their career is a fuel truck on fire.
Just about out of water. We're just out of water right now.
The water on the truck was quickly spent.
You're out of water.
The closest hydrant 1,600 feet away.
They are dragging very, very heavy lengths of hose.
Start applying a foam blanket.
Diesel poured over the roadway and the flames followed.
The firefighters from Station 31 and 32 are right there, and they look very small. They're dwarfed by the amount of flames and certainly by the plume of smoke that's there. And the amount of heat that's coming off of that is overwhelming.
For Next, I'm Victoria Sanchez.
Hundreds of people were out on the interstate for the firefight and the cleanup. And today we're getting a better idea of just who those folks were. 75 or so were firefighters from South Metro, Denver, Cunningham, and Littleton. 70 were CDOT workers. Another 30 were CDOT contractors, including the hazmat team. And then you have all the police, state troopers, and other agencies. Big time effort out there yesterday that we witnessed. Driverless cars are getting more autonomy for testing in Colorado with the hope that they could eventually make our roads safer. And as Governor Hickenlooper signed that bill today, he mentioned to us he was none too pleased with some false reporting yesterday on another media outlet that exaggerated the impact of the tanker fire.
My office, we had live feeds up so we could monitor as it went along. And, we couldn't tell in the beginning whether, there was one report out that, that the catenary had melted above the light rail. Who knows how long that would have taken to fix. Turned out not to be the case. Fake news.
Fake news, not our favorite term, but he's the governor. He can say what he wants. Light rail wasn't damaged. In fact, it was running again before anything on I-25. Listen, we're not saying we won't ever make a serious error on Next, but if we do, you can at least expect that we'll admit it and explain how it happened. The governor's pen today also increased criminal penalties for drivers who cannot be bothered to just move over for first responders, at least for anybody who hurts or kills another one of Colorado's protectors. We've shared the story again and again of Colorado State Patrol Trooper Cody Donahue, who was hit along the side of I-25 7 months ago as he investigated a crash. Drivers who refused to move over used to be charged with careless driving, a traffic offense. Well, it is now a misdemeanor if someone is hurt and a felony if there's a death. Every day since Tuesday's deadline for oil and gas companies in Colorado, we've been asking the state what it has learned about hidden pipelines across Colorado. The governor ordered the industry to find and map all of its lines after the fatal house explosion in Firestone that killed 2 men. State regulators are saying they may have an answer for us to pass to you tomorrow. Today's attack in Manila, Philippines, struck a part of the city where Colorado's Republican Senator Cory Gardner had just been staying. President Trump suggested that it was a terrorist attack, but police in the Philippines say actually the explosions and gunshots appear to be part of a casino robbery. I spoke with Senator Gardner when he returned to the States this afternoon. He was in the Philippines meeting with President Rodrigo Duterte, an American ally with an abysmal human rights record. Duterte's brutal anti-drug campaign has killed drug addicts in the streets, but President Trump has praised Duterte's tactics in a leaked transcript of their first conversation.
Do you share the president's positive view of that campaign?
Well, we must follow the rule of law, and that's what I expressed. That's why I said to the president that we have to have rule of law, we have to have transparency, we have to have investigations of any type of extrajudicial killing. Well, we have to have investigations of any killing to ensure that it's not a extrajudicial killing. And that's the kind of conversations I had throughout the government. We can't just rely on paper diplomacy, press release diplomacy. We have to make sure that when we see a problem, we are addressing these challenges. And I think it's a shame that some people wish to politicize and condemn without actually doing anything about it.
The joint fight against ISIS was discussed there in the Philippines, and Senator Gardner tells me that he got commitments from the president of the Philippines to cooperate in containing North Korea. and opposing China's aggressive territorial moves in Southeast Asia. Danny Timms has got to be one of the most memorable people we have ever met on Next. Danny was homeless, and he was thrilled to get hired by the city of Denver to clean his park. Did you notice I said Danny was homeless? Our Steve Sager has the update.
What's up, man?
His friendly attitude is hard to miss, much like his story.
I was homeless a couple months ago.
Now Danny Timms has a 9 to 5, well, a 6 to 2:30.
We got to get the back of the vest.
Working for Denver Parks and Rec, and with the full-time gig, another life changer.
I go home every day to take a shower. My own place, my own place.
The man who used to sleep in the park where he did his work is now taking part in a favorite Denver pastime, griping about rent prices.
I've never in my life paid $750, but I do now.
He does now.
Bedroom?
Now he sleeps on a pillow and a mattress.
Months ago I slept on the sidewalk. Now every night I come home and I take a shower.
None of this would have been possible.
Mr. Scott Gilmore give me a job and history.
Without a little help.
Danny, I met him in the park.
Scott Gilmore saw potential in a person who wouldn't even get a glance from many others.
A lot of us that have jobs and have our lives and our families take what we have so much for granted.
By now, you know the story. Scott helped him score the job.
Every month I write down the paydays. This month we get 3.
He helped him get into this new apartment, even helped stock it with furniture and other odds and ends.
It's easy for me to just run out and get some boxers at Walmart. No problem. I was at Walmart anyway when he called me and he said, hey, I don't have any. So I was like, what size do you wear?
Scott says Danny's case is actually helping the city realize something. It takes more than a job and 4 walls to get someone off the streets. Danny's a long way from having all of his problems solved. But the view from here is pretty nice.
Looky there, and how can you ever be sad when you look at those beautiful mountains?
Now, since the start of Denver Day Works, 49 people have found permanent jobs with the city in Parks and Rec and Public Works. The city has paid out more than $50 grand in day wages to people who are involved in the program. It was interesting, and when I was talking to Scott Gilmore, he said one of the things he's found is that any program with the mission to end homelessness not going to work. You have to learn how to deal with it and how to get these people the resources they need to actually live.
Lesson learned the hard way by a former Denver mayor, now governor.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Steve. And when all heck was breaking loose in the world of transportation yesterday, the A-line had its own small stumbles. But I must ask, is the train to the plane working today? And I'm happy to tell you, yes. Friendly reminder, there ain't no party like an A-line party, because an A-line party don't stop, unless, of course, the train breaks. But I have promised the day that the train to the plane gets cleared from probation by federal regulators, I will be on board for Next wearing an I Heart the A-line shirt and a party hat. This is not a joke, folks. This is a promise. May I make a recommendation? Point you towards something that didn't come from us but is worth your time. Listen, we won't rehash the national conversation on President Trump's decision to pull out of the Paris Climate Accord, but take a look at the Twitter thread by CU Boulder professor Roger Pilkey this week. He is not a climate change denier. He is proudly a divergent voice on that topic, though, sometimes speaking before Congress. And he says that the president's action proves that climate advocates have lost the American right, and that action on the climate can't just flip back and forth based on who's president. That is not a long-term solution. So Pilkey calls on Democrats to drop climate action as a wedge issue and find some way to get Republicans to fight alongside them for a sustainable approach. You can find that interesting Twitter thread on Next's Twitter account. It's a sign, and one that made Next viewer Jerry Mariani do a double take. You'll see on the right there's a sign for East US 6 pointing drivers to the left. On the left there's a sign for East US 6 and it points drivers to the right. Same with I-25. It's like choose your own adventure. Okay, this is all very, very confusing. This is at the intersection of Federal and 6th. Listen, we've gotten some signs fixed before, or at least gotten a better explanation. If it confused Jerry and confused us, surely it has confused many a driver. If you see a sign that makes you do a double take, send it our way. Email next@9news.com or get our attention anytime with the hashtag HeyNext. That same hailstorm that caused a mess of problems for Colorado Mills Mall also damaged a lot of iconic neon signs around our area. A month after the hailstorm, the busy work continues for a neon craftsman. Photojournalist Corky Scholl, who has somewhat of a thing for neon signage, followed a guy around for the day as he stopped in Denver's 5 Points neighborhood.
The day of the storm, we started getting phone calls. people were shoveling hail.
This massive destruction.
Tons of property damage, and I was just sitting there like feeling really helpless, like I just got to get back to the bar. I need to check out the sign, like I'm so worried about the sign.
The 7 obviously was broken. Surprisingly, the rest of this sign, as much hail as there was, is all intact.
By the time I called the next day, they were like, we'll get someone out when we can. But, you know, you got to be understanding and patient with these guys just because they're fixing all the other ones too.
We've probably worked on 100 signs so far, and I bet there's 1,000 that need servicing. This is a portion of what was brought in just today. It was damaged in the hailstorm. There's 10 squares that they have, different colors. We're very, very busy. With every large hailstorm, there's a few broken units. You know, it just can't be helped, but nothing like the amount of work we've got out of this one. I think there's probably another month or 2 worth of work involved with the destruction that the storm did.
Hopefully sometime this week we'll get it back to its former glory, but until then we're just kind of a little bit darker. It's not as well lit on this street anymore.
Keep plugging away, yeah.
Glenn says these neon signs won't break during any normal hailstorm. You have to be talking about hail large enough to damage windshields before it busts their signs. These kids might have thought that they were selling lemonade, but this driver can tell you during yesterday's traffic jams all over town, they were doing much more. The fancy rare piano we showed you recently is back home. No small effort will meet the owner. And why in the world is the Rapids Stadium plastered with logos for a school from the Springs? Next. The most Colorado thing we saw today, well, it was actually yesterday. During the crazy traffic backup after the crash on I-25, some young entrepreneurs selling lemonade and handing out free sides of positivity. I came upon them on Monaco as I was winding my way back to the station from the crash scene last night. These kids were cleaning up out there. And you know what? They were also making a lot of people smile when they otherwise were not feeling good because we were stuck in miles of traffic that just wasn't moving.
I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin. The storm's not too fierce today for the start of our severe weather month. Matter of fact, we're mostly sunny in the city after a brief shower just rumbled through about a half hour or so. Temperatures today in the 80s. That's a trend that will continue for the rest of the week. So lemonade, keep that at the ready. Thunderstorms tonight are tracking quickly from the south to the north. A bit of thunder and lightning, nothing severe as of yet, and that trend should continue overnight. The heavy storms are east of El Paso and down toward the Houston area. Weak front coming in tomorrow will bring in enough moisture with heating of the day. 20% chance of late day storms once again. Not in the outlook area for severe weather, and with enough sunshine, temperatures should soar above average again. But we'll get a beneficial rain shower out of some of these as they move out onto the eastern plains about this time tomorrow night. This night, still the chance of a brief shower, a rumble of thunder, and then skies clear. Will drop to 53 for a low. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, warm, temperatures back in the low 80s. Average high this time of year is 77. So we're doing pretty well as we head right into the upcoming weekend with basically dry conditions. Our best chance for severe weather will be Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. And wonderful, beautiful cloud pictures coming in this time of year. Kyle, these are some of the beautiful mammatus clouds we can look forward to seeing probably more often than you might think this month.
For sure, my favorite kind of cloud. Thank you, Kathy. The world only has about 5 Steinway pianos just like it. So when we watched the rare piano get restored on Next, we knew we had to follow it home and learn a bit about its owners. Mike Grady tonight provides the pictures, as he always does, and the words in this update.
We've had a piano that has been in my family for an awful long time.
Playing piano brings more than just music to a home. Ask Chris.
Chris is fine.
He's been playing this piano for a long time.
I think I was about 4 years old in that picture.
That's why.
Yeah, this is fun.
Chris sought out piano wizard Marshall Luke.
Here.
And his apprentice Jake to bring new life to this old instrument.
We used all the old original parts that we could, you know.
They spent 14 months restoring this rare 144-year-old Steinway Monitor Grand.
There, now set it down.
And now
the movers are like, due any second, and this is what you don't want to be doing.
They're one repair away from finishing the project.
I'm very anxious to get to the very last stage of this piano job.
The last stage is the move.
1, 2, 3, up. There we go.
I think we're going to be safe.
These guys work fast. Just one more step.
Ready to give it to the owner. That'll be step Z.
The word bash really works well there.
Yeah.
A careful lean, a little creak, and
we're down.
Wow. It's a little shinier than it was when it left.
Now that it's back home, Chris's son can play it just like his old man used to.
And now we've got generation later doing the same thing all over again.
Now it's back, and I can rest easy.
And for Marshall.
And it's another job done.
Finishing the job means playing one more song to bring all this back home. For next, this is Mike Grady.
Woo! Man!
Marshall Luke, the piano restorer, says that Steinway has many more years of good life ahead of it, so Chris and his family can keep on playing. No need to keep it out of reach like an antique. If you've ever wondered who's trying to get rich off this fidget spinner trend, I think he walked into our newsroom this week. And of course that's a Husky at Whole Foods. This is Colorado. Yet it raises a question. Next. I'm not looking to trigger any classroom teachers, but this next story is about fidget spinners, bane of your existence. I've always wondered who exactly is getting rich on this fad, and then this guy walked by 9 News telling us about his side business, selling those spinners marketed as a way to soothe anxious nerves. Ian Brown says he's making a bucket load of cash, selling up to $150 a day. It's capitalism, baby.
I think the big deal with these is it's the newest toy on the market that nobody really has seen before. So kind of like Pogs used to be, you know, it's one of those new things that once somebody sees it, they got to have it. Sorry to make that many.
I always figured that they were made entirely in China. Brown says there are some high-end fidget spinners. They're actually made locally. They sell for as much as $120, and someday they'll go in the bottom of the closet next to the Pogs and the Beanie Babies. Our next question. Why are there University of Colorado, Colorado Springs logos all over the Colorado Rapids field up in Commerce City? So it turns out UCCS has partnered with the Rapids on a soccer management business degree. There's such a thing. This is apparently a first in the U.S., a soccer business management track within a business program. The students in this track intern with the Rapids. They do marketing, digital media, ticket sales, sponsorship sales, operations. The program started in August of 2015, so the first class of students are slated to graduate spring of 2019. We are told this is competitive, too. 86 students will enter the UCCS Sport Management program each year. Just 23 make the cut for the soccer management program. Perhaps you, too, are trying to eat healthy because you're a little husky, but this is a regular-sized husky spotted at Whole Foods in Wash Park. So we invite you to capture this picture. A husky standing there at Whole Foods, bottle of kombucha, smile on its face in the Colorado sunshine. That was our runner-up for the most Colorado thing we saw today. Hashtag HeyNext with your ideas for that. We'll have your feedback right after this. Bill and Donna write, they say their summer residents of Colorado saw the start of Next back in August. We were so pleased to see it continuing when we returned in May. They say, please, Mill, but I think they mean surprised. They're probably just surprised. And Ron Benefield says, tell Kyle to go back to the wild side with the jack. It's too civilized. It's covered in tiny dots. What do you want from me, man? See you next time. All righty.